What happened to Ronaldinho? Imagine you've achieved everything: fame, wealth, millions of fans. And then, you wake up one day and you're broke. Your bank balance shows less than 10 euros. Impossible? Not for Ronaldinho. The rise to superstar. Ronaldinho, the magician with the ball. The boy from Porto Alegre who made football history with a smile. Even as a child, he was a natural talent. He lost his father at the age of 8, but football became his anchor. At the age of 13, he made headlines for the first time, when he scored 23 goals in a youth game. His career took off, from Grêmio in Brazil to Paris to PSG. But it was the move to Barcelona in 2003 that made him a legend. He transformed a struggling team into the best club in the world. His tricky game, his inimitable style and his charisma made him a darling of the masses. In 2005, he was voted World Footballer of the Year. In 2006, he led Barca to the Champions League title. He earned millions, not only from football but also from gigantic sponsorship contracts. Everyone wanted him as a figurehead. Ronaldinho lived the dream, but while the world celebrated him, a problem began to grow in the background. One that he himself did not take seriously for a long time. The case: how everything went wrong. With the end of his career came reality. His income dropped, but his lifestyle remained. Private jets, parties, expensive cars, yachts, travel. His joy in life knew no bounds, but also no control. Then a fatal mistake. Ronaldinho and his brother Roberto began construction projects in Brazil without worrying about permits. The authorities took action and imposed a fine of over 2 million euros, a sum that Ronaldinho ignored. He probably believed that his popularity would protect him. But the fine got higher and higher, and when Ronaldinho didn't pay, the unthinkable happened. His Brazilian passport was confiscated. A world star who was suddenly unable to travel. Meanwhile, debts to former business partners and the tax office were piling up. Millions were missing, his properties were seized. And then the low point: Ronaldinho traveled to Paraguay with his brother, with a fake passport. Why? Apparently, he no longer even had valid papers. The authorities noticed the fraud, and suddenly, one of the greatest football stars of all time found himself in a prison cell. From world footballer to prisoner, a fall that no one would have expected. The fight for a comeback. After months in prison, things turned around. Ronaldinho was released on bail of $1.6 million. But outside, it wasn't his old life of luxury that was waiting for him, but the bitter reality. His debts hadn't disappeared. His income had almost dried up. Sponsors dropped out. His financial problems bigger than ever. But Ronaldinho wouldn't be Ronaldinho if he didn't find a way out. He started to use his popularity, social media, advertising contracts, paid appearances as a football legend. His name still has traction, and that's helping him to slowly stabilize. Today, he's trying to fight his way back. He travels for exhibition games, takes part in celebrity tournaments, and sells his brand wherever he can. But the big question remains: can he ever get back on his feet? Or will he remain an example of how quickly fame and fortune can disappear? What do you think? Could Ronaldinho have acted differently? Was it naivety or just bad luck? Write it in the comments and let's discuss. And if you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.